I am Yogan, my full name, Jogendra Nath, surname Mandal. Have you heard this name? If not, the fault is not yours. Did even your fathers, your mothers, your grandfathers, your grandmothers remember my name? Did the writers of history? But for that, I blame no one. Because the deeds I did, the consequences I faced, they made this my destiny. Yet, the times were different then. Once, I was at the very center of social and political discussions. I was the voice of the deprived, the oppressed, the influential leader who walked shoulder to shoulder with Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Not just Bengal, but the whole of undivided India knew me by name. And you will be surprised to know, after partition, it was I who was entrusted with the responsibility of framing Pakistan's constitution. Yes, I became the very first law minister of Pakistan. But in 1950, I was forced to resign, and I returned to India. Returned? No, perhaps it would be more accurate to say, I escaped back. Even here, I had to live a life of obscurity. Finally, exactly 57 years ago, on October 5th, 1968, carrying loneliness and shattered dreams in my heart, I bid farewell to this world forever. What do you think? That I have come to narrate my autobiography so people will remember me? To be looked upon with pity? No, no. I do not wish for that. I want everyone to forget me, just as they have forgotten Mir Jafar. And yet, I have been compelled to return because time itself seems once again prepared to repeat that history I once authored. The same dreadful mistake, the same divisive, dark history that once tore India into three pieces. And I was not merely a silent witness to that history, I was also its architect. I know your time is precious. But thinking of your safety and that of your future generations, I have cast aside my shame and come to share the realizations of my life. The root of the events began in 1920. A man named Abdul Qadir Bilgrami wrote a letter to Mahatma Gandhi demanding a separate state for Muslims. In that very year, Mohammed Abdul Qadir Badorni, through his magazines Ul Khan and Badorn, publicly put forth the idea of Pakistan. Gradually, the demand for Pakistan grew stronger. In 1930, when Ul Amar Iqbal, once hailed as the nationalist poet, also raised the demand for Pakistan, it gave the idea a whole new dimension. Can you imagine? The very man who had once lovingly written, "Se Jahan se Achka, Hindustan Hamara," was now effortlessly dreaming of dividing India into pieces. But the real history began in 1940, when the Muslim League passed its historic resolution making a direct demand to break India and carve out a separate country, Pakistan, for Muslims. At that time, apart from a large section of Muslims, the rest of the country did not take it very seriously. But within just 2 or 3 years, the entire scenario changed. Everywhere, on every platform, the talk of Pakistan began. One move after another was played for the creation of Pakistan. At that very time, scheduled caste politics, meaning Dalit politics, was rapidly rising in India. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar formed the Scheduled Caste Federation. And I, Jogendra Nath Mandal, emerged as one of its leading figures. But our outlook was not the same. Dr. Ambedkar considered Hindus and Muslims to be two completely separate civilizations. He would openly declare, according to Islam, a true Muslim can never regard the land of India as his motherland, nor can he ever accept a Hindu as his brother. But my perspective was different. I looked at society not through the lens of religion, but from political and economic angles. I believed, since most scheduled caste Hindus and ordinary Muslims were backward in education, in society, and in economy, they were, in reality, equals. And if cooperation and unity could be built between these two communities, then yes, a new future could be created. It was my very thinking that the Muslim League took advantage of. In 1943, Jinnah extended a hand of friendship to me, and I stood by the Muslim League with all my legislators. The League's leaders, even Jinnah himself, repeatedly assured me, in Pakistan, scheduled caste Hindus will enjoy more rights than even ordinary Muslim citizens. At that time, I still believed. Pakistan's demand was nothing but political bargaining. I trusted that Muslims would never commit the crime of dividing the nation. But I was terribly mistaken. August 16th, 1946, that black day, when the Muslim League declared a direct action day in Calcutta, thousands of Hindus were mercilessly slaughtered. From alleys to main roads, corpses were scattered everywhere. Thousands of women were gang raped. On the city streets, vultures were tearing at human bodies right before my eyes. And I saw it all with my own eyes. Hindus kept pleading with me and again, sever your ties with the League. But not only did I continue my support, I even told scheduled caste Hindus to stay away from Hindu organizations. The result was catastrophic. Massacres of Hindus became even easier. Under the leadership of Gopal Chandra Mukherjee, when Hindus rose in resistance, the slaughter in Calcutta finally came to a halt. But in October, on the day of Kojagari Lakshmi Puja, the carnage began again, this time in Noakhali. Thousands of people from my own community, the scheduled castes, were slaughtered. Countless Dalit Hindus were forcibly converted. Thousands of Hindu women had to endure gang rapes, and hundreds of women went missing. And yet, shamelessly, I kept speaking in favor of the Muslim League. This was not the end. After the riots, when a no-confidence motion was moved against the Muslim League in the Bengal Assembly, even then, I stood by the Muslim League to dismiss the motion. Bengal kept burning, but I refused to abandon the side of the Muslim League. Finally came August 14th, 1947. That day, against my own political convictions, the Muslim League created Pakistan. Terrible massacres spread across the country. Hindus all over the nation called me a traitor. But still, I did not leave Pakistan. I did not leave the Muslim League. Jinnah made me the first law minister of Pakistan. He also entrusted me with the grave responsibility of drafting the constitution. Filled with enthusiasm, I urged the scheduled caste Hindus, put your trust in Pakistan. And many Hindus, especially from the Dalit community, placed their faith in me. Despite countless atrocities, they stayed on in Pakistan, at my word. But soon, the true face of Islamic Pakistan was revealed. All promises were broken. In both East and West Pakistan, massacres of Hindus, abductions and gang rapes of Hindu women, looting of homes and property, forced conversions, these became everyday occurrences. Gradually, my faith began to collapse. Summoning courage, I raised these atrocities before the Pakistani government. And that was when the leaders and the clerics there began to see me as their enemy. Across both wings of Pakistan, a storm of Hindu annihilation raged. Even the Pakistani army and the police unleashed barbaric cruelty on Hindu women. And yet, I kept giving half-truths and false statements to save the government from collapsing. My own community, the very people who had trusted me, were left with no choice. Either they were killed, or they saved their lives by converting, or else they fled to India. For safety's sake, I too sent away my only son, Jagadish, to Calcutta. To examine the situation closely, I set out on a tour of the villages. And what met my eyes? Fields strewn with the bones of Hindus, flocks of vultures, charred houses, deserted villages. I saw thousands of penniless people uprooted from their ancestral homes, heading helplessly toward the border. In protest of these events, some Hindu legislators staged a walkout in the assembly. And as a result, on February 10, 1950, over 10,000 Hindus were brutally massacred in Dhaka. How many hundreds of women were abducted? How many thousands were raped? Perhaps only God knows that number. And all of it unfolded before my very eyes. And then it became clear. In Islamic Pakistan, a Hindu was nothing but a kafir, one who had no right, even over his own land. If only I had realized this truth earlier. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar had repeatedly, in plain words, warned me. But at that time, I saw society only from political and economic angles. And that was my greatest mistake. In the end, when everything was shattered, every dream destroyed, on October 8, 1950, I tendered my resignation to Liaquat Ali Khan's government of Pakistan. Every line of that letter still echoes in my mind. I had written, "I wish to once again record my firm conviction that the government of East Pakistan has, till now, been following the policy of driving Hindus out of the province. On several occasions, I had placed my views before you in discussions. I am compelled to state that the policy of expelling Hindus from West Pakistan has been completely successful, and now that same policy is advancing towards success in East Pakistan as well." What followed? On September 15, 1950, I received a message from my son in Calcutta. He was said to be gravely ill. Using that as an excuse, I left for India and never went back. I left behind thousands of Dalit Hindus. Those whom I had assured, those to whom I had said, "Pakistan too is your country." And they were still condemned to die there, to live a life of hell. Jayanti Kamakar, a human rights activist working for the rights of Hindus in Bangladesh, once said about me, "For us, Jogendra Nath was the biggest villain at that time. Because of the prevailing circumstances, Hindus had to endure immense suffering. By speaking of Dalit Hindu-Muslim unity, he showed us a lush green dream. Without caring about criticism, I once again plunged into the political arena. In an effort to regain my lost influence and support, I went from one refugee camp to another, in Birbhum and in 24 Parganas. In 1952, I contested from the Baniapur Balagunj Assembly constituency. But I lost to Pulin Bahari Ghatak of the Congress. In 1955, I joined the Congress Party. But in the 1957 elections, I was denied a ticket from any constituency. In 1964, I stood as an independent candidate. And yet, I was defeated again, this time by Ramesh Chandra Malik of the Congress. How can I even blame the people? Even after the Great Calcutta Killing of 1946 and the Noakhali riots, I did not let go of Jinnah's hand. Even after witnessing one Hindu massacre after another in East and West Pakistan, I remained silent. How could people ever trust such a man? At last came 5 October 1968. In Kolkata, in utter obscurity, I passed away. Neither the central nor the state government sent any representative. I don't even know, did any newspaper even report the news? Except for close relatives, no one took part in my cremation. I, Jogendra Nath Mandal, was erased from the memory of people. And in the eyes of those who did remember me, I belong to the same clan as Mir Jafar. There is much shame in my heart, much hesitation, a heavy sense of guilt. Yet I have returned. I had to return. If my life, if my mistakes, can give you even the smallest of lessons, that alone is my hope. Never forget, only when the nation, the faith, and the culture survive can politics and the economy endure. But if you sacrifice the nation, the faith, and the culture, just look at both halves of Pakistan, you will find your answer. Stay well and love this country deeply, immensely.
Friends, if this story touched your heart, do show your support by giving it a like. Don't forget to share your feelings in the comments. Who knows, your thoughts might inspire someone else too. And to discover more such unheard tales from history, glorious legends, and the fascinating chapters of ancient Indian culture, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. Come, let us rediscover together our lost heritage, the forgotten stories of India.